As well, it's got the quick release, so I'll show you. This is how quick it is. Say that, and I'm like messing it up now. Let's go, YouTube. What is up? It's James from Robin Henry Watches. We're going to get straight into it. What are you looking at me like that for?
I'm just thinking about it's kind of weirding me out because it's Christmas for us.
Right.
It's Christmas. But Christmas is gone.
Oh, what are you going to do about it? It's all right to leave your decorations up. Can I finish my intro?
You can if you want.
Screw it. That is my intro.
Okay.
Right, I'm going to get straight into a wristwatch check today. Oh. Now, this should have been up in the site already, but it's not because I haven't handed it over yet. It is the Cartier Santos in medium, but it's one of the newer versions, or it's quite new. So it's the same as the standard medium, but it's got a gold dial, not the white. And it comes on the bracelet as well, which is like my last yellow and gold one. So exactly the same, but one, the dial is gold, and two, got those beautiful factory set diamonds. I could fall in love with those. And it's on the Cartier strap that comes with it, and on their deployant. Like I said, it's got the bracelet as well, but I'm just enjoying it on the leather side. I think it looks really good. It's a really nice, deep, dark blue, shiny alligator. It's good. And as well, they've got and they've got this the new Cartier deployant. And what I like about it is two things. One, the old one you had to flick it up with your thumb or fingernail, whatever. This has got a twin trigger. And then the other thing is on the normal or older deployants, this bit here has to fold back on itself, which I don't like. It's not very comfortable.
Really, yeah.
This which just goes straight through. It's the small details as well. It's got the quick release, so I'll show you. Put your finger in here and give it a little wiggle. I say that. Oh, there you go.
Ish.
So yeah, and it's the same with the bracelet and back in.
I noticed it's still stickered as well. That's interesting.
Yeah, on the back. Well, it was new. It's now not. And it's not coming off my wrist for a while. Anyway, we have got some other cool stuff that's going to be landing in the shop with timings of filming. Who knows? We've got a new Cartier Tank Must in red, which I'm not sure if I'm selling that either. I said that about the last one and I sold it, but that could potentially be coming through. We've got an Amiga Constellation from the late 60s, early 70s, but that's in for a refurb, so probably won't see that one for a while. We've got a Grand Seiko, our first one coming in. I can't pronounce it, I should have looked up the words, but it's the really cool one with like the blue frozen lake dial. I want to say, I can say the name, but I'm gonna mess it up.
Go for it, it's going to be funny.
No, I outright refuse. You'll probably have seen me post up a few pictures of the Instagram, but that's due to land any day. And anything else that I fancy buying while I'm drunk in a drunk coma over the next week.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, exactly. It's not going to be good. Let's get into it. So, what's hot? What's not? I don't know what all this is about.
I don't know. Nothing's fucking hot. It's freezing out.
It is freezing. Right, so I've got a lot in the what's not category, so I'm going to start with some positivity.
We did lots of what's hot last time, so
yeah, good. This will balance out. Now, I had this as a what's not category for ages, but I haven't used it, and I wanted to talk about it, which is watch polishing, because as a general rule, I'm against it, because I like having. When you wear a watch a lot, you pick up the marks, you pick up the scratches. It gives it history and character, and that's your watch, your marks that you've made.
You look at the scratch and you think, oh, that's the time I hit on the door and cried for 5 minutes.
Exactly. And then you polish watches, you're taking the metal off, you'll reshape, if it's not done well, you're reshaping the lugs. It's horrible. Like vintage Rolex is one of the easiest ways to spot, because all of the lugs, you don't have this nice kind of beveled edges, which they do so well, and Cartier as well, actually, brushed, polished, brushed. Anyway, but there is a man out there who has potentially changed my mind, or at the very least, maybe not changed my mind, but if you have to have your watch polished, or you want it refurbished back to new, or you bought a watch and it's got someone else's marks and you went, no, I want it to look like new.
I want my marks there.
Go on Instagram, look him up, at The Watch Polisher. I'm just looking at his account. Well over 14,000 followers. Maybe put up his account and pictures of some of his work. Oh my god, this guy is awesome. And he's also what's good about his account is he shows you the before and the after, but also where other people have polished it and messed it up badly, because it's a very fine art to get polishing well, and he has to go in there and fix it. I've had some horror stories of my own over the years. I had an Amiga Speedmaster once, It was the old version, and this was before I was watch dealing, and I was selling it to this guy. He's like, "Oh, can you get it polished?" I was like, "Yeah, okay." Now on the Speedmasters, it's the one with the bracelet, the old one, where it's like it's generally brushed, but then these two small links here which are polished.
You like this bracelet?
Is that yours? Let me have a look. Yeah, except for that is it exactly. And it's got the polished part here and here. Well, I took it to the local Omega dealer to refinish it, and they it up bad. It literally is like you got a Brillo pad and just went down it like that. It lost all of the mirrored finishes, and in the end I had to give the guy a discount because he was going to have to go and get refinished somewhere else.
He lost out twice, basically.
So if you're going to get your watch repolished, take it to someone who knows what they're doing. So really, in my mind, you've got two options. The manufacturer of where it comes from, like, for example, Rolex, Omega, send it back to them to do, or this guy. I haven't used him before, but the work that he's done just looks absolutely awesome. And like I said, generally I'm against it. I don't ever have any of my watches polished. And if it's a watch for the store, generally I won't have it polished. I would leave that down to the person to decide. If they want it refinished, then I'd be happy to do that as part of the price. But you are taking metal away, so you don't want to do it too many times. And take it to someone who knows what they're doing. But anyway, yeah, he's awesome. So he's in the what's hot. Right, what's not? Well, I think the whole watch world right now is...
The whole watch world's not hot.
No. Let me finish. Is what the So I'm not going to go back into the Patek 5711 Tiffany, but that disease has spread to the Rolex Oyster Perpetual, the 36 and the 41mm Tiffany dials. The prices are just laughable right now. Just quickly going on chrono, there was one up the other day. I think if you follow me on Instagram, you'll have noticed it was like 125 grand. Well, right now the most expensive one is £100,103 for a 41mm Tiffany dial. It's not really, obviously the nickname is Tiffany. Then we got 84 grand, 56 grand, 50 grand, 50 grand. This is for a 5 grand watch. Yeah. Is it even 5 grand? I don't think so. 47 grand, 45 grand, 43. You would have to be an absolute moron to buy this. Who is paying this? I think they're probably, from my knowledge, dealers are generally paying around 16, 17 for the 36mm and about 20 on the 41. So yeah, there's a few dealers selling at 20 grand. I mean, even at 20 grand. I mean, come on. Right, is it worth a premium? Yeah, it is. Is it worth that much of a premium? No, it's not.
You're never going to get that back once this hype dies down, which it will.
Now, we often talk about this, the Rolex bubble, which isn't a bubble.
There's a difference between the Rolex bubble and the Tiffany bubble.
I'll tell you what, if the prices are still this high in 2 months, I will eat my pants.
You will buy one at 50 grand.
I will not buy one at 50 grand. Is it worth 10 grand? More than double its retail. Yeah, okay, fine. Is it worth 20 grand? I would say this. If you bought one at retail and you're thinking about it, cash the f***er out right now. Yeah. Drop it like it's hot, because it ain't going to be hot for long. And yeah, who's buying them? I don't know. Maybe if more and more dealers invest in it, it might get to a point that the prices can't come down because the dealers are going to be so invested in it, they're going to control the market. But I don't think so. Most other dealers are of the same opinion as me, is like cashing out, they're flipping them now, but I don't see that is...
Especially as soon as gifting season dies, which is now, well, it's dead by the time we...
I don't know, it's not even a great dial.
I don't get it.
It's bright and it's kind of a little bit different, so I like it for that, but it's also quite feminine. I mean, saying me wearing a small Cartier with diamonds on, okay, so fair enough. Maybe I shouldn't be throwing
it's only
my stones.
Because it's topical, though.
It's like, I'll tell you what, this is a really, how good I am at like really bad analogies, right? So when Prince William got married to, what's her name? Kate, is that her name?
Yeah.
Middleton.
I haven't just made up.
Oh, I'm just checking, because you know how I am on my fact checking. At the same time, I remember it in the media at the time. Then they started looking at like her sister that was like available. And it's like, it's the same sort of thing. You got the royalty, the 5711, which is, okay, fair enough. I was like, oh yeah, that's pretty good. And then you got the sidekick, and that's what this is.
That's exactly what this is. I don't get it.
My advice would be do not invest in this, do not put your money into it. If you have one, sell out, get out of it now. And if you're one of these people buying at them at that price, I'd love to hear from you in the comments and, change my mind. I'm not always right and I might be proved to be wrong, but I don't see it.
I don't see it going much further up.
I mean, what sort of a dealer is putting up, I'll just put 84 grand on it? You f***ing chancer.
I think we're about 10% away from the peak at the moment.
Well,
it can't be much more.
We're still in the holiday season, but come the 2nd of January, that ain't going to feel like a good buy.
No.
So
it's going to crash. It's
nuts. There's loads of other good Rolexes out there which you can get with like hype pieces. I sold the Starbucks again this week. That's still, it's more than double its retail, but it's established now.
But that's holding its hype because of what it is, not because of what it's like.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a difference. You're buying it for it. You're not buying it because of a trend.
Yeah, it's going a bit nuts now. Everyone's just looking to always cash in on the latest thing. Fair enough. If you bought one recently, you just sold it. Fair play to you. I get that because
if you want to sell it at a retail price, we are.
Yeah,
we'll pay double the retail price.
Yeah, I paid double. I wouldn't pay any more than it for that. I'll stick it on chrono for 80 grand. Take my chances.
Worth it.
It's a nice segue into the next topic, actually, a what's not. So, Watchfinder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Watchfinder. So, I've always been I wouldn't say a supporter, but people always been knocking Watchfinder over the years. Oh, they buy low and they sell high. Well, that's the job of a trader. But I always argue this to all the people that complained about it when I was really active on watch forums would be, actually, at least they offer us a service. They will buy any watch, generally speaking, and give you a price. So even if you ever need to get out of something and you can't sell some like off-brand, or you want to get a good price on your Rolex, they're always there. It's like having a pawnbroker there, but getting a decent deal.
Yeah.
Usually. So I've always been quite a good supporter of them. Do they always pay the best money? No. Smaller dealers will generally pay better, like people like me, or there's whoever your local dealers are, they'll probably pay you, or they might pay you a stronger price. So shop around.
It's definitely a better
then I can't remember if it was a year or 2 years ago, they got bought by the Richemont Group, if that's how you pronounce it, who own a whole load of luxury brands. So it was interesting to see where they were going to go and with the business change. And generally speaking, it hasn't changed too much. But the last few months, they haven't been buying anything. Or they haven't been buying much, should I say. I've sold to them quite a lot over the years. And then I noticed it on some watch I was selling them. They're like, well, we're not quoting. I was like, okay. And then I started hearing it from other people in WhatsApp groups, on watch forums. Why weren't they buying in the lead up to Christmas?
Yeah.
Surely that's the time when they should have been buying and investing into stock. You can see their stock numbers on their website, which for them weren't overly high. They've got retail stores. They've expanded. They're in other places like Hong Kong and in Europe. So I actually don't have the answers. So I'm asking the question, why aren't they buying? Why weren't they buying at such a busy time? Recently, it was on one of the WhatsApp groups, quite a hot watch. They put it in for a quote, flat out, no, we're not buying it. Yeah. And I even tested it with one of my Rolexes, very like hype sports piece. They didn't even offer on it. So odd. I don't have the answer, but I'd open up to the discussion. Why aren't Watchfinder buying, or at the very least, why are they not buying as much? What's going on there? They can't be running out of money. They've got a huge, multi-international business behind them. Multi-international business behind them. They got all the money in the world behind them. Why not?
Listen, Watchfinder, if you need help,
call me.
We're here.
I'll come and run up. Give me a CEO job.
We'll listen to you.
You're going to have some lawsuits. Your HR department's going to be busy, but we'll figure it out.
Don't call the Samaritans, call us.
Yeah, call us. Right, so the last topic that I've got is it's a what's not. It's quite it's an odd one, and I should have probably thought about it and made some notes.
You're about to break me bad news, like I'm pregnant or something.
I don't know how that would happen. It's not mine. So,
well.
So is this trend starting with watch dealers taking on coaching clients. It's an odd one. Now, where this first, and I'm sure he wasn't the first to start it, but what recently popularized it was the timepiece gentleman Anthony Farrer has been taking on watch clients. So basically they pay him a fee of, like, I think he was putting out there $35,000, and for a year he coaches them how to become a watch dealer, and takes them from a novice to get them set up, take them to, like the trade shows in the US. And I was like, oh, okay, fair enough, makes sense. I mean, he hasn't got the most experience in the world, but he's done very well, so okay. And then I've seen other smaller dealers, like a lot smaller dealers, like my sort of size, offering to take on clients and charging them for it, which I find...
I was aware of his offer, but yeah, that's...
I mean, he's got something to offer, he's done something different with social media.
At the very least,
Love
he's
him
got
or
clout.
Love him or hate him, he's a very popularising figure one way or the other.
People will pay for it.
So fine, but then seeing smaller dealers do it. Now, I'm open to it because I think, the more people that come into any sort of business, I think that's a good thing, more competition. And I know a lot of like the old school dealers, certainly authorised dealers, they don't want people coming into the industry. No. Fine, whatever, I get it. But I'm not coming at it from that angle. I guess the angle that I'm coming at it from is like, not maybe the blind leading the blind might be the wrong word, but there's a lot of new dealers who've only been doing it for like a year or so. And they're offering to coach people.
I was thinking, if you're offering service like that, you kind of need the clout.
It's not just that. I just think as well, how experienced are these people that are charging out all this money? How much experience they do have? I mean, okay, I'm closing in on like my first year, but I've been studying watches and the market for a decade. That's not something you can just quickly teach someone. No. And more importantly, if they're that, if they're really kind of that motivated, they should go about it in that route, in my opinion. Really be deep into it rather than just jumping straight into it. Where they're having to, like, some of the training that I saw Anthony giving to people is like, go and learn about this model. Like, you kind of need to know about this sort of thing before you get into it. Do you want to be buying watches off these people?
It kind of strikes me maybe their business isn't going as well and they're trying to monetize their time.
I don't think that's it. I think it's a case of monetizing, diversifying extra income streams. I guess it's a bit like, I don't mind the... Jesus, there's like a whole load of... There's like a gang of birds out there. What do you call a big group of birds? Well, a flock?
Depends on the bird.
Well, those are pigeons, but there was something else.
Oh, you've got all sorts.
I feel like I'm from... Have you seen that film from... I was going to say Anthony Hopkins. Of course it's not. The guy who did... Hitchcock. Alfred Hitchcock. Birds.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, reminds me of that. That's what it's looking like out there. Anyway, off point.
A bird reminds you of a film called Birds.
There's always a film that reminds me about something. Great. Anyway, so my point is, I don't really know where I'm going with it. I guess I'm just saying this, like, buyer beware in terms of, if you really want to be a watch dealer, learn about watches, take it as a hobby, and find your way into gradually. There are some benefits because you're going to get, I've done it the old school way, my dealer contacts, I'm having to do it, find them as I go. And kind of learning about things and business. So I guess you can get a step ahead there, but I don't know what some of the other prices these guys are charging. But I just find it odd that people that are literally a year into the business are like,
I'll take you on. The wrong trends.
I'll take you on as a client. I'm like, dude, who are you selling it to? Who's buying? The Anthony Farrer one, I kind of get, because he's obviously, he's learnt along the way as well, but at least he's like 4 years in, and he's, like you say, he's got clout, and he can teach you something about social media.
You don't know, you can use clout to make up the difference.
I guess a better way would be doing it is like, if you want to come into the, become a dealer, if you can, I'd be like, go and work for one of these dealers, earn money while you go, get all the contacts and get paid for it. That would be a way that, a kind of a better way, especially if you're younger. In my vintage age, that's difficult. I got big bills to pay, so I'm juggling all sorts of businesses. But if you were younger, I'd say go and work for one of these guys, get paid, and that's when you're really going to learn.
And then do a bunk once you know about it.
Exactly. And then take their clients, take all their contacts, and be like, you bitches.
Interesting.
Yeah, not you.
Takes notes.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I would do. Like I said, imagine if someone like Roman Schaff was doing it. Wow. Yeah. That would be value for money.
You'd be paying that.
Exactly. Hell yeah. Because there's always more to learn. I mean, what I know, you could write a book about what I don't know, probably, you're always on a learning journey and things like that. I'm new into it. But would I start being like, oh, come and be a client and I'll charge you 20 grand each for a year's training?
No.
I just think, the smaller dealers doing it and that are very inexperienced, I find it a bit odd. And it's like they're trying to, like you just said, like cash in on some of the bigger guys that are offering it. And it's a bit weird. I don't know. But listen, if you're one of these people that are buying for it, drop your comments below and change our mind or change my mind.
I don't know how I feel about it.
It's just odd.
Yeah.
I saw a dealer do it recently who started at the same time as me. He generally only does Rolex watches. So how much depth is there to your business if it's just Rolex, and how much do you know? I mean, listen, he might well do. I don't know him. I don't know him personally. I don't know his experience.
Off one brand. I mean, it's not going to happen.
Well, listen, all I'm trying to say is I'm trying to be objective. I don't know everything about his business, but it's like, it seems very soon to be trying to take on clients.
Yeah, and what I mean is, if you're learning a business model based off of one brand, that's never a good business strategy.
If you've been in business long enough, and I'm not saying that you can't have success early, because of course you can, but some of the businesses that I'm involved in, it's like you've got to be in for a decade. In the first few years, you think you're Billy Big Balls and you know everything, and then you're a decade in, you're like, oh,
that's what it's about.
Yeah, if I could go back and tell myself, which I learned in 10 years. So those people that have been in the game that long, they got a lot of value to add to people. Although generally you won't see them selling it because why would they? They want to get people in their business and teach their employees that because it benefits them. Yeah. As well. So if you're one of those young guys, go and work for someone and get paid for it and learn the old-fashioned way. That's what would be my recommendation. Anyway, I just wanted to touch on the topic because I find it weird. I think that's about it.
Yeah,
I'm done.
That's the end of the year.
It's the end of the year. Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, it was Christmas on Saturday last week.
Are you sure it's the end of the year? Because we're in our time machine here.
It's Christmas.
Oh yeah, it is the end of the year.
Christmas last week.
Oh. Happy New Year to everyone. Ooh. Thank you for my first year. Started in February, and now I'm here.
Here we are.
Put a Drake track on, started from the bottom. I haven't made it to the top. But thank you very much to all of our clients and for everyone who watches and everyone that leaves comments, whether they're positive or abusive. Cool. I think that's it.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Let's go.
Cheers 2021.
Shit.
Well, I've made up a whole scenario. You're super, super rich. You've got more money than sense. Your partner in life is called Raffles. You live in Luxembourg. But you know that he's having an affair with the cat groomer, and you want him to die, and you want him to know that he's having an affair with the cat groomer.
With that relationship, who do you hate that much? You thought about this?
I don't hate anyone. I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Who hurt you?
Everyone's hurt me.